Oh, so we're live. Give it a minute or so, let people join in. Hopefully I can roll a couple of cigarettes without my phone knocking over. We'll see. There's one. There's two. That's enough to get us through this live feed. Luckily I try and keep these kind of short. So I address this as the State of the Union. Let me shut down some background noise. Our union, my friends. Our union's in some trouble. Why? Because everybody's expecting one person to do everything, and not everybody's standing up and doing something. I don't expect any one person to stand up and change anything in this country. I expect a lot of pissed off people to stand up and attempt to change something. I think that's the problem we have right now. Everybody's expecting one person, be it the president, their governor, whoever it might be. They're expecting one person to change everything. Like that. It's not going to happen. Even to get an amendment, you need, 38 states? A good majority? Well, it tells you that's going to happen. But you could be doing something right now. You can actually do something. There's a few things you can actually do. You start by going to your state assembly or town assembly meetings, town council, whatever it may be. Start there. Every change starts at ground level. You can't change the top without changing every tier along the way. So that's step one. Step two, people got to start appreciating the little bit that's given to them. And I say given to them because a lot of y'all ain't earned the respect that's given to you. The level of freedom that's afforded to you. You haven't earned that. A lot of you haven't. Some have. Gold star, kudos to you guys. A lot of people hollowly sit here and absorb the benefits this country provides to them, and that's not right. And I say hollowly absorb because they don't do anything to contribute. Well, let's see what we got for comments. Wayne's watching, Mike's watching. But yeah, you don't contribute to the freedoms that you partake in. So in the end, you're hollowly accepting things being given to you for no reason. You did nothing to deserve it. We're reaching that point in time where you're going to have to start to earn your keep in America. People are going to stop standing up for just everybody and only stand up for those who stand next to them. And that's something you all got to keep in mind. Me, I've got contingencies and fallbacks and stuff like that. People I fall in with that have a similar mindset to where we're tired of supporting a illegitimate system, a system that's not really for the benefit of anybody except for itself. And a system that gives you free handouts at the cost of somebody else, like myself, isn't a system I want to be a part of. Honestly, I don't see how you could be a part of that. I bust my ass for every dime I make. I'm going to continue to do that. Even with the coin shortage, they might have to pay me in dollars. We'll see what happens. But even during this coin shortage crap, I mean, I gotta a bucket of coins going. There's probably a wrap of singles and stuff in there too. Just extra loose change at the end of the week. I bind up, toss aside. We just went on vacation, cashed in $300 and change dollars worth of change. Where'd all that go? Must not have gone to New York State, because we did that 3 weeks ago. Don't know where all those coins went. You're talking a gallon Red Hot jar full of coins and bills and everything else. Where'd that go? Where's this bucket going to go when I turn it in? They don't just get rid of coins, guys. They don't just melt them down and make other shit out of them on a regular basis. You don't take funding out of the Treasury until you have something to put in. So either they put in bills in place of coins, assuming bills are going to be more needed, or there were more coins taken out of circulation than should have been. Not really sure. The mints, yeah, they closed down mints. They ran them at 10% capacity, things like that. But still, you don't take money out if you don't have something to put in. Like, I can't go to my 401k and say, hey, I want to take out $50,000 and have them be like, okay, well, you only got $37,000 in here. Be like, yeah, well, I need $50,000, so I'm going to take out the extra right now. They wouldn't do it. That's not how things work. You can't take out more than you got. So why did you take out more of the coinage money than you had? People say, oh, well, they were cleaning it for COVID. People could say what they want. What caused it? Whose stupid decision was it? Let me look back to comments because I noticed I got a few. Real coin shortage. Hand up, not a handout. Amen, Mike. Amen. Wife's watching too. Because the economy is shit. Yeah. I bet they comes back in. Yeah. There's your dead piece. Yeah, and that's just it. I mean, being a debt-based society, and knowing that we have to be able to pay that debt, how can we be a society that eliminates a part of the currency? You literally can't turn down cash money as a business owner. You can't. If I, as a business owner, ran a convenience store and somebody came in and they got $20 in gas, and I didn't charge them ahead of time, and they came in to pay for it and all they had was cash, that's legal tender. You can't turn that down. If you turn down legal tender, that's paid in full. The person can walk out the door. All they need is a recording saying you turned down legal tender. It's the same thing with the face mask requirements. ADA, Adult Disabilities Act, or whatever it is, association maybe. There's a complaint you could file against all these different stores in New York State that won't serve you because you're not wearing a mask and because you refuse to tell them why. You don't have to tell them you have COPD. You don't have to tell them anything. They can refuse service, and then you can just turn around and file a complaint and sue them later on. And it's going to come down to a class action lawsuit against the states. What's really going to come down to, because they're going to say the state mandated it. You're going to say, well, it can't be mandated, and it's going to end up going across to federal court, I'm sure, by the time it's done. But you're going to make bank off it if you have the balls to file the paperwork. And that's going to be a lot of it, filing paperwork. Yeah, I don't agree. I don't know how they're allowing businesses to not accept cash. It says legal tender. Yeah, Americans with Disabilities Act. That's what it was, the ADA. People coming to our country are making top dollars. Back to their country. Yeah, it's another thing too. When you come to this country and you're claiming to be here for the country, but you send all your money back home. But that's a legitimate thing. Like, I could see why people would do that. If I lived in a third world, pardon my French, old country, I would most definitely send the money back because I know it's worth 10 times there what it is here. Here you can get a loaf of bread with $3. There you can get, an AK with $3. Maybe that AK is going to serve you better. It's a different type of exchange system. Especially in some of these countries like Venezuela, their money's changing daily as far as what it's worth. You bring a couple of U.S. dollars over there and pay for things just in U.S. dollars, you're going to get a lot more bang for your buck than you do in their currency. 5 of their dollars is like the equivalent to 20 cents or something like that now, if that. But people want us to be more like these other socialist countries too, and that's another thing that just throws me for a loop. I really don't get it. I don't understand. Pardon me, I keep getting thirsty during this. But, where do we start off? The coin shortage shit. I don't see how there could be a coin shortage, honestly. Unless the Federal Reserve did something really stupid and got rid of a whole bunch of coinage and substituted cash money for it over the last 20 years. And then now they realize, oh, crap, we don't have nearly enough coinage. That's the only thing I could see that would cause this to actually legitimately be a thing. Yeah, exactly, Mike. Dollars worth of wheelbarrow worth of their currency. It's over $1 million. It'll cost you over $1 million, whatever their currency is, just for like a loaf of bread. It's ridiculous. The same country used to give you a gallon of gas for 19 cents. 19 U.S. cents was a gallon of gas. It's probably close to the same now, but it's probably costing them a week's paycheck, you know? And that's where it comes in. Yeah, it's the death of the dollar. And this very well, right now, may be the death of the dollar. Because we don't have the coinage to distribute to break down the dollar at this point. Therefore, the dollar is that unstable. Or that much more unstable than it was. We can no longer break down the dollar and give you your pennies back on the dollar. Therefore, other countries are going to start to use different currency if that's the case. If they need to do a cash transaction and it's not something they can do via banking, they're going to say, okay, well, we can't do cash anymore because you guys don't have the coins to back it up. We're just going to go and do, a transaction with this other country. Spend a few thousand more, whatever. But it is what it is. And we're going to lose out on business as a country because of that. Just something else to wreck the economy. Yes, the petrodollar is dying, and we were the petrodollar. Feel surviving Chinese currency. Yeah, and I think that's a huge mistake to buy anything in Chinese currency because the Chinese inflate their currency worse than the U.S. does, honestly. That's why the petrodollar, the U.S. dollar, had backed petrol and everything else across the world for years, is because we don't change our currency like that. We keep it very organized as far as, or at least did for years, as far as the amount of gold we have to back it up, and the inflation rates are projectable and things like that. Whereas now, nobody knows what the fuck's going on. Honestly, nobody has any clue. Do you know what the dollar's worth in comparison to a peso now as far as what it was 20 years ago when we were all in school? I don't. Yeah, I don't agree with China being chosen as a new global superpower. Their currency is dictated by the states. The state has overall control, so if anything goes wrong, they can just turn around and blame China, the country itself. So I see that as a reason why countries would go to use that in place of the U.S. dollar. But, oh yeah, definitely audit the Fed. I thought the Fed was supposed to be, like, dissolved or put under the Treasury Department or something like that. Wasn't that supposed to happen, like, 6 months ago? I don't know if it ever did. I didn't hear much about it. But yeah, this coin shortage shit, I don't know if it's a play to try and get you to use your credit card more often and kind of track every purchase you make, because if they do that, it's really easy to profile an individual by where they spend their money on fuel, where they spend their money on drinks, what kind of drinks they're buying, what kind of snacks they're buying. You can get a lot of personal information out of somebody just by following their financials, if you can narrow it down to only using a traceable sort. Whereas money, you're getting rid of. My neighbors down the road, each year, these two little girls, they set up a lemonade stand. And they've got candles that they put in seashells and stuff, painted rocks. They do all sorts of cool stuff. And we stop down there every year and we buy some from them. Well, in a cashless society, you can't do that. So what do I gotta go down and I buy a traceable credit card that's got no name tied to it, but it's a traceable number, and they know the address it's being sent to, and I give them that in place of it? How does that work? Do they gotta set up a Square account to have their lemonade stand? That's the part I'm confused by. Like, if you try and think about the cashless system thing, stuff like that doesn't make sense. Yeah, for the state government and things like that, the way they're doing cashless tolling stuff, I kind of see that aspect, but I'm somebody, I do service work. I may work for a family member, and if they can't perform a form of work that I want in barter, I may turn around and be like, hey, just buy me a 6-pack or whatever. I'll come over, I'll fix your sink, buy me a 6-pack. I got the parts in the truck to do it, not a problem. Is that even able to be done? Can you barter for goods still at that point? Because that 6-pack's going to be tied back to you. And if you've already had your 4 6-packs allowed that month, and you buy a 5th one and you give it to somebody else, are you going to be penalized for it? I'm not saying we're there. We can easily get there. That's a really fucked up part. Is it only takes a second or two after you take that first step over the ledge to hit that point. Oh, the same thing with ammo. Oh, well, the government's put a limit on the amount of ammo you can buy. You can buy a box a month. So your cousin goes and buys a box of ammo for you. That ammo's not listed on their ammo permit. So they get flagged. They get questioned about it. Then they come question you. Is that where we all want to live? That's where we're headed. Things keep going this way. I don't want to sound like a nut, but that really seems like where we're headed. And I think instead of everybody waiting for one person to come along and do everything to change this, we all have to realize it's on us to do one thing each. And that one thing we affect each can change everything. Because instead of 1 million people or 20 million people expecting one person to come across and help them with change, if half that came out and strove towards the change they desired, that change would happen without one person having to be the brunt of it. Because when one person goes to enact a whole bunch of change, usually doesn't break down very well. But when a couple of million people get together to do the same change, look at what Antifa's doing. They're not even getting 1 million people on their side. Across the entire country, they might have 1 million, 2 million people. But they're able to enact change. Organization, cooperation. Remember that. I don't think I'm going to change any minds tonight. I'm not in the mindset to change any minds. Probably had a few too many PBRs. But the one thing I hope everybody takes out of this, you can't sit around and wait for that one person to come through and change everything. You're better off having everybody you know get together to change something. And that one thing you change could be the difference between America and Civil War. Keep that in mind. Till next time.